Long ago, in a time when the people of Israel were facing great hardship, they found themselves under the rule of a powerful and unkind group called the Philistines. For 40 long years, the Israelites prayed for a hero who could save them from their troubles. They longed for someone strong enough to stand up to their enemies and lead them back to freedom. In this difficult time, God was listening to their prayers and was preparing a special plan. In a small town called Zorah lived a kind man named Manoah and his wife, who were sad because they did not have any children. They hoped and prayed that one day they would have a family of their own. One sunny afternoon, while Manoah's wife was resting in a field, a shining angel of the Lord suddenly appeared before her. The angel brought amazing news. "You will soon have a son," the angel announced gently. "He will be a very special child, chosen by God to begin the work of saving Israel from the Philistines." The woman was filled with both shock and great joy. This was the miracle she had been dreaming of. The angel explained that this was not just any child, but a hero destined for greatness, and his life would be dedicated to God from the very moment he was born. A promise that would shape his entire future. The angel gave her very important instructions that she and her future son must follow. These rules were part of a special promise to God called a Nazirite vow. The angel told her she must not drink any wine or eat anything that was considered unclean. Most importantly, her son's hair must never be cut with a razor. His long hair would be a sign to everyone of his special promise to God and the source of a miraculous gift. This vow was the key to his destiny and the incredible strength he would one day possess, a strength that would be used to protect his people from their powerful foes. Manoah's wife rushed home to tell her husband the incredible news. They were overjoyed and followed every instruction the angel had given them. In time, she gave birth to a baby boy, and they named him Samson. As Samson grew from a small boy into a young man, everyone could see that he was special. The Lord blessed him, and a powerful spirit began to stir within him. He was stronger than any other man, with a playful heart and a powerful sense of justice. The people of Israel watched him grow, filled with hope that he was the hero they had been waiting for all along. As Samson became a young man, his adventures began, and his incredible strength was put to the test. One day, while walking to a town called Timnah to visit a Philistine woman he wanted to marry, a fierce young lion suddenly leaped out from some vineyards, roaring loudly. Instead of being afraid, Samson felt the Spirit of the Lord rush upon him with great power. With nothing but his bare hands, he fought the mighty lion and tore it apart as if it were a small goat. It was a stunning display of his God-given strength, but he kept this amazing feat a secret, telling no one what he had done. Later, at his wedding feast, Samson decided to challenge his 30 Philistine companions with a clever riddle. He had returned to the place where he fought the lion and found that bees had made a honeycomb inside its carcass. So he asked them, out of the eater, something to eat, out of the strong, something sweet. He promised them fine clothes if they could solve it in 7 days. The Philistines were completely stumped by the puzzling words. They tried day after day to figure it out, but the answer was a secret only Samson knew, a mystery born from his hidden strength and his secret battle. The Philistine men became frustrated and angry. They went to Samson's new wife and threatened her, demanding that she find out the answer to the riddle for them. Scared for her life, she cried and begged Samson to tell her the secret. Finally, after much pleading, Samson gave in and told her how he had found honey inside the lion. She immediately told the Philistine men the answer. Samson was furious that they had cheated to solve his puzzle. Full of righteous anger, his great strength surged, and he went to a nearby Philistine town and single-handedly defeated 30 men to claim the prizes he had promised. Samson's battles with the Philistines grew more intense. They were angry about the riddle and sought revenge. In one famous event, the Philistines tied Samson up with strong ropes and brought him before their army, ready to defeat him. But as they shouted in victory, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson again. The ropes on his arms snapped as if they were threads touched by fire. He saw the fresh jawbone of a donkey on the ground, picked it up, and used it as a weapon. With this simple tool and his mighty strength, he fought off the entire army, defeating 1,000 Philistine soldiers all by himself. After many years of being Israel's champion, Samson's life took a different turn when he fell in love with a woman named Delilah. She lived in a place called the Valley of Sorek, and Samson loved her very much. However, the Philistine rulers saw this as their chance to finally defeat their greatest enemy. They went to Delilah in secret and offered her a huge amount of silver if she would help them. They wanted her to discover the true source of Samson's incredible strength. They knew that if they could find his weakness, they could finally capture him and end his reign as Israel's protector. Delilah agreed to the evil plan and began to ask Samson about his secret. "Please tell me," she would say sweetly, "what makes you so strong? How could someone tie you up and overpower you?" 3 times, Samson tricked her. First, he told her he would become weak if he were tied with 7 fresh bowstrings. When the Philistines came, he snapped them easily. Then he told her new ropes would hold him, but he broke those too. He even let her weave his long hair into a loom, but he simply pulled the entire machine out of the ground when he awoke. Each time Delilah failed, but she did not give up. Delilah became more persistent, nagging him day after day and crying that he did not truly love her if he would not share his deepest secret. Her constant pleading finally wore Samson down. His heart was troubled, and he grew tired of her endless questions. At last he gave in and told her everything. He explained that he was a Nazirite dedicated to God since birth. "A razor has never been used on my head," he confessed. "If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as any other man." He had trusted her with the sacred vow that connected him to God. That night, while Samson slept on her lap, Delilah called for a Philistine man to come and quietly shave off the 7 braids of his long hair. As the last lock of hair fell to the floor, Samson's strength vanished. The Lord had left him. Delilah shouted, "The Philistines are upon you, Samson!" He woke up thinking he could escape as before, but he was powerless. The Philistines seized him easily. In their cruelty, they gouged out his eyes, leaving him blind and helpless. They took him to a prison in Gaza, where the strongest man alive was forced to do the hard work of a slave, grinding grain. In the dark prison, Samson was alone with his thoughts. He had lost his strength, his sight, and his freedom, all because he had broken his sacred promise to God. The Philistines mocked him, celebrating their victory over the man who had once terrified them. But as the lonely days turned into weeks and months, something quiet and hopeful began to happen. Unnoticed by his captors, Samson's hair began to grow back. With each strand that grew, a sliver of hope returned to his heart. He spent his time in prayer, speaking to God and asking for forgiveness for his mistakes and his broken vow. The Philistine rulers decided to hold a great festival to honor their false god Dagon for delivering Samson into their hands. They gathered in a massive temple, and thousands of people, including all the important leaders, filled the building and its roof. To entertain the cheering crowds, they brought Samson out from the prison. They made fun of the blind and weakened hero, forcing him to stand between the 2 main pillars that held up the entire temple. The crowd roared with laughter, unaware that Samson was praying silently, his heart reaching out to God one last time. With his hands placed firmly on the 2 central pillars, Samson prayed a final powerful prayer. "Sovereign Lord," he whispered, "remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just one more time." He felt a familiar surge of power, a miraculous strength flowing back into his body. It was a sign that God had heard his prayer and forgiven him. With a mighty roar that echoed through the temple, he pushed with all his might against the pillars. The giant stone columns groaned, cracked, and then shattered under the immense pressure, and the entire temple began to crumble. The massive roof of the temple came crashing down, burying everyone inside under tons of rock and rubble. In that single final act of redemption, Samson defeated more of his enemies than he had in his entire life. He sacrificed his own life to fulfill his destiny and save his people. Though Samson made big mistakes driven by his passions, his story teaches us a powerful lesson. It shows that God can use flawed people to achieve His great plans, and that even when we fail, there is always a chance for forgiveness and redemption if we turn back to Him with a sincere heart.